Namaste students. We are here for the third session of that particular poem, A Tiger in the Zoo. In our two sessions, we have already dealt few portions, even the technical aspects of the poem. Today, without spending too much time on the first, especially the introduction and the next two stanzas that already we have completed, I will run on. And the next portion looks like this. He should be snarling around houses at the jungle's edge, baring his white fangs, his claws, terrorizing the village. And the stanza ends with an exclamation. Such a wonderful stanza made by the poet. It talks about the pictorial description of the tiger. At the same time, again I'm repeating the same word, it shows the glamour of a tiger, the gorgeousness, the mesmerizing beauty of a tiger. He should be snarling around houses. Snarling. Snarling actually means an alarming sound. You can get another word that also means the same. The word is growling. He should be snarling around houses. Again, this is also a hypothetical situation. The poet is trying to imagine that if tiger would have been free in the forest, what could be the situation of the tiger? What could be the activity of the tiger? At the jungle's edge. So here it talks about the poet is trying to show the dominance of the tiger. So the periphery, the entire periphery of the forest, it belongs to the tiger. As if the tiger is the king, and it is. So therefore the tiger can go anywhere else as it wishes, or he wishes, rather the poet, because the poet has talked about in terms of personification, so rather instead of using it, we can say that he, because poet has given that permission to all of us. He should be snarling around houses at the jungle's edge, so it can move anywhere else, bearing his white fangs, fangs means teeth, his claws, terrorizing the village. Definitely. These are the points, these are the areas that the tiger can terrorize anybody. In my introduction, I have already shared this idea that tiger, when the tiger is encaged, you can control the tiger. But when the tiger is free, then you can see or you can visualize, you can exemplify the real glamour, stamina, caliber, the power of a tiger. So bearing his white fangs, his claws, terrorizing the village. Definitely it takes me to that story, childhood story, the tiger and the villager. Perhaps you also know it, but I'm not going to tell the story because it's all our childhood stories and we have heard the story. Bearing his white fangs, his claws, terrorizing the village. And the stanza ends with an exclamation mark. An exclamation, it talks about the sense of fear. Everybody is frightened. So the poet is trying to show that exclamation, rather the frightening situation by the tiger. This is a very simple passage and it is fraught with some pictorial descriptions of the tiger. Pictorial, actually the word pictorial means just like a picture. The words that the poet has used, it looks like an image, just like picture. Before, image is a figure of speech. And there is another word that is imagery. Now the question comes, where lies the essential difference between these two words, image and imagery? It's nothing. Image means a picture. And imagery means a collection of images, constellation of images. There is a critic, the name of the critic is Cecil D. Lewis. He wrote one book, The Poetic Image. It's written, if I'm not mistaken, it's written in the year 1948, where he says, an image is a picture and a poem is a collection of so many images, what I call imagery. And therefore, the poem is a collection of images and ultimately the poem becomes an image. Here also, at last we will try to find out or we will try to discern whether this exclamation or this kind of demonstration is right or wrong. At the end of the poem, we will judge it. Next, we will move on. Next stanza begins with but. I'm reading the stanza. But he is locked in a concrete cell. His strength behind the bars, stalking the length of his cage, ignoring visitors. Again, the poet begins with but. In the following stanza, we have checked the power of a tiger, the real beauty of a tiger. But in the next stanza, immediately the poet begins with but. But gives a jerk. There is a halt. So here there is a shift of tone and temperament that the poet is trying to insert in the minds of the readers. But there is a jerk. The reader cannot read very smoothly. So immediately when the poet has used the word but, it's the stop. It's a sudden stop of that pictorial description. Now he turns out to be a little bit serious. But he's locked in a concrete cell. Use of alliteration. Alliteration means a sequence of consonantal sounds. His strength behind the bars. Already I have stressed on this. The tiger is really powerful behind the bars because it is encaged. The power is snatched from the tiger. It is totally in the hands of human beings because human beings have encaged the tiger. So the tiger is powerless at this point of time. Rather, the power belongs to the human beings. His strength behind the bars, stalking the length of his cage. It is called periphery. Periphery means whatever the area of the cage is, accordingly the tiger can move. It cannot go beyond the cage, ignoring the visitors. So it's a zoo and the tiger is chained there. So many visitors have come to see the tiger. I have shared that perhaps these visitors are getting hedonistic pleasure. But after all, the tiger is not caring anybody. Tiger is totally ignorant about these visitors. He does not take any attention about these visitors. Who are they? So definitely, it shows a scathing remark by the poet. It shows a stark contrast. There is a contradiction of the ideas. Human beings are getting entertained by the tiger, where the tiger is not taking care of these people. In a circus, it's a situation. The situation is different. Where the tiger is brought in a cage, where the ringmaster is actually trying to show some games with those tigers, wild animals. But here there is no ringmaster. The tiger is kept alone. And therefore the tiger is not showing anything. Rather it shows its reluctance. Stalking the length of his cage, ignoring the visitors. Perhaps as a reader I feel that the poet is trying to show the tenacity, the mentality of human beings. We people understand that the tiger is in its own mental pressure. It's not enjoying the situation. Still, these people are here to get some entertainment from the tiger. And they know that tiger is not happy. Even the tiger is not showing any indication of happiness to those people. But still they go. So it shows the difference of mentality. Apparently the poem appears to be very simple, but it's very complicated with some different ideas. If we can dig into the aspect, then definitely we can pluck some good thoughts, opinions. Last stanza. He hears the last voice at night, the patrolling cars, and stares with his brilliant eyes at the brilliant stars. Repetition. Brilliant, the word, it is used twice. It focuses. The stars are also brilliant. The eyes of the tiger are also brilliant. But I will talk it later on. He hears the last voice at night. At night, it's a resting time. But it's not a resting time for a tiger. It's an opportune time to chase a deer, to chase a prey. But as the tiger is in human situation, perhaps it's the resting time. But the tiger cannot give up his habit of chasing a deer or a victim at night. But ultimately the tiger is helpless. Therefore, being helplessly, he hears desperately. He's looking for the sound. He's looking for somebody else. but after all, helpless. He hears the last voice at night, the patrolling cars. Right now, the poet has used some modern language or linguistic aspects. Patrolling car. Patrolling talks about vigilance. Police people, they are on street because they are taking the responsibility of the security of people, so that people can sleep properly. They can have a sound sleep after the day's toil, after the day's taxation. Maybe after laborious day, you want to have little bit sleep so that you can energize your body for the next day. It's a preparation time. So therefore, these police people, they are taking the responsibility so that you can take a sound sleep. But there is a contradiction, I will tell later on. So the patrolling car, so this is the modern language, patrolling car. So patrolling here actually means to guard. At the same time, it also means that the car is driven by petrol. So two meanings are associated with this. It may be a pun. And stares with his brilliant eyes. Eyes are still brilliant according to the poet. Because eyes talk about everything. It's an index of mind. Sometimes we say that face is the index of mind. But if we take it very, very minutely, then perhaps the eyes, it is the index of mind. Your eyes will tell everything, what story you have inside. But after this domination, after this painful stay in a cage in a limited space, still the eyes are brilliant. It talks about the power of tolerance of the tiger. Here in this way, I'm trying to show the contradiction. Meaning can be very simple, but that's not the task of the readers, to get only the simplification of the meaning. Something the poet has inserted in the poem so that we can be rejuvenated with our ideas. So, and stares with his brilliant eyes. Still the eyes are brilliant. It shows that, okay, even though the tiger is encaged, even the power is snatched away, but if today, at this moment, if the tiger becomes free, next moment it's going to catch its virility, the vibration of life. Stares with his brilliant eyes at the brilliant stars. Stars are always brilliant. Always brilliant. They are far away from us, but still they are twinkling. Again, these twinkling stars talk about our childhood poem, Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. So stars are brilliant. Eyes are also brilliant. But you are looking the star, it also talks about the desperation, hopelessness. It's not an exaggeration that the tiger is looking for the stars. But here, through these two lines, the poet is trying to show the intense pain inside, excruciating pain inside. The tiger is helpless. It cannot do anything else. When human beings will be brought back to humanity, then only the tiger can be free. Otherwise, nothing can be done for the tiger. This is perhaps the message that the poet is trying to share within these two lines. And stare. There is a difference. When you talk about see, look, stare. The word stare means you are looking with concentration. It's not simple thing. It's not very common. So when you are staring, it means that a deep thought is embedded with you. EMBEDDED. And stares with his brilliant eyes. He's also looking for something, little bit hope he's trying to absorb from the stars. The stars are not tired throughout day and night, years after years, months after months. They are also twinkling. So definitely, perhaps the tiger is looking for that tolerance, the quality of forbearance rather, and stares with his brilliant eyes at the brilliant stars. With this, the poem gets over. Now we have to see where lies the brilliance or the excellence of the poem. Do you think it's a simple poem to talk about the tiger, the situation of the tiger, the pain of the tiger? What do you think that why did the poet write this poem? I will take help of little bit Bangla. Sometimes we say, খিদে পেয়েছিল খেয়েছি, তৃষ্ণা পেয়েছিল জল খেয়েছি. Will you think like this? That কবির কবিতা পেয়েছিল কবিতা লিখেছেন. This is the only intention of a poet or something beyond that? We have to find it out as a reader. It's a responsibility. The poet is giving a stark contrast. Several times I have shared this phrase to you. Definitely it's a stark contrast with scathing remark. So just like our writer, the poet is also trying to say that tiger doesn't fit in a cage. It fits for the forest. It wants to enjoy the openness of nature, in the lap of nature. Another thing that I need to share with you, that as a reader I have felt, I don't know what's going to be the same opinion for you or like this. The poet is a little bit critical when he says the patrolling cars. Think about critically. These police people are taking care of human beings. So are they taking care of animals? That animals will attack human beings, therefore these people are out in the street? Or these police people are taking care of human beings so that any thief, any murderer, any criminal cannot commit any mistake at this point of time at night, and these people cannot harass other people to have a sound sleep. Think about it. So therefore, perhaps the poet's intention is, who is dangerous, rather more dangerous? Is it tiger or human beings? Definitely, if you go in the forest, you have to face a tiger. And you know, there is always a mental setup. The moment you are crossing a forest, you are frightened, you are trembling inside, because you know there are wild animals. They do not understand any love language. They only understand the language of hunger. If they are hungry, then there is no sympathy. There is no language. There is only one language. That's the language of hunger. So there is always a mental preparation the moment you are crossing through a forest. But that should not be the same when you are in a human situation. You are in a human society. But still, these foolish people are taking the responsibility to have a safe and secure night. That's the question. Perhaps it is in the mind of the poet. So therefore, the poet is trying to say that what kind of people you are, where you cannot take the responsibility of your lives. Instead of that, you are putting wild animal into a cage for your entertainment. What kind of entertainment it is? Think in different way. If you have gone into a forest and the tiger has caught you and you are put into a cage, every day cats come, next day dogs come, and they're actually getting entertained from you. What could be your condition? Does it talk about a real society? Does it talk about a real human equilibrium? Does it talk about sanity? I don't know what the intention of the poet. But as a reader, we should include all these curiosities or questions into our periphery of understanding. And the poet is trying to represent the tiger as a symbol. This is what happens when you encage. It may be a tiger, it may be a bird, it may be a dog, anything. At last, I will try to give you the perspective and the spectrum of the poem. I have already shared that the same idea is focused by our famous poet Rabindranath Tagore, Boner Pakhi and Khachar Pakhi, where he also talked about the contradiction between these two birds. Ruskin Bond, he has written a story, The Tiger in the Tunnel, where he has shown the terrible power of a tiger. If you go to America and if you read Maya Angelou, she has also written one poem, The Caged Bird. Ultimately, this point is from England. I have talked about India, I have talked about America. Ultimately, you can see the universality of language, universality of emotion. That's the uniqueness. Wherever you go, pain remains the same. A tiger in America feels the same pain. A tiger in India also feels the same pain. A great leader, maybe Nelson Mandela, maybe Netaji, they can be imprisoned in India, they can be imprisoned in South Africa, but the spirit of a leader, the spirit of a hero will be the same. This is what the poet is trying to share in this small poem. We have shared, especially I have shared a lot of ideas with you. I think it's going to be helpful for your understanding, better understanding. So if you have any question, I will take those questions. Let's read the poem, connecting all these ideas. I hope that this will enrich your stock of knowledge. So many aspects. This is going to be a video class. So many things I could not write. So many things I could not share because it's going to be limited. But if I get any opportunity to deal in class, definitely I will try to go beyond your curiosity, beyond your learning. I will try my best. This is the end of my session related to this poem. Thank you very much.